You are sitting in traffic. Or maybe you are lying in bed, the artificial blue light of your smartphone carving deep shadows into your exhausted face. As you refresh your banking app for the third time today, the numbers haven't changed. You are 27, 35, maybe 40, and you are running on a treadmill cranked to 15 miles per hour, surrounded by fire. While the screen displaying your account balance steadily counts down to zero, you feel pathetic. You feel like a glitch in the system. You think you are losing the game of life. You look at the super rich, the ones with the sprawling estates, the European sports cars, the flawless family holiday cards, and you think, if only I had that. If I had their money, I would finally be safe. But let me show you what winning the game actually looks like. Let's fast forward to the finish line you are killing yourself to reach. It is November 2018. You are Keith Caneiro. You did it. You beat the system. You own a massive, highly lucrative technology and pest control empire. You sleep in a breathtaking multi-million-dollar mansion in the exclusive, private enclave of Colts Neck, New Jersey. You have a beautiful wife, Jennifer, and two perfect children, 11-year-old Jesse and 8-year-old Sophia. You are the apex predator of the American dream. And yet, how does your victory lap end? It ends with you, face down on the pristine, manicured grass of your front lawn. It ends with a bullet from a 9mm pistol lodged in your lower back, and several more permanently fracturing your skull. It ends with your multi-million-dollar fortress ablaze, the thick, toxic smoke choking the life out of your family trapped inside, right before the blade of a knife pierces the skin of your children and the man who pulled the trigger. The man who stabbed your children and poured gasoline on your legacy. It wasn't a cartel hitman. It wasn't a jealous rival CEO. It wasn't a random home invader. It was your older brother, Paul. In February 2026, a Monmouth County jury sat in a sterile, fluorescent-lit courtroom and found Paul Caneiro guilty on all counts of first-degree murder and aggravated arson. As the verdict was read, Paul sat there, an empty, hollow shell of a human being, completely devoid of emotion. No tears of remorse, just the chilling silence of a man who butchered his own flesh and blood over business accounts and missing money. You see, society has played a spectacular prank on you since the day you were born. The system has fed you a continuous IV drip of beautiful, paralyzing lies. They told you that blood is thicker than water. They told you that if you hustle, if you build generational wealth, you will create an impenetrable fortress that protects your loved ones from the cruelty of the world. They sold you the concept of the family business as the ultimate pinnacle of trust and loyalty. Every piece of advice you've ever received from your teachers, your parents, your motivational gurus, it is all fabricated evidence. It is a psychological pacifier designed to keep you functioning within a machine that feeds on your blind obedience. You are angry, aren't you? You feel a deep, gnawing frustration that no matter how hard you play by their rules, the promised peace never arrives. Your frustration is entirely valid, because the game is rigged. The very things you were taught to chase are the exact mechanisms that will eventually destroy you. Look at the Caneiros. Keith built an empire to secure his family's future. But that empire became the literal fuel that burned his children to ashes. The money didn't insulate him from danger. It painted a neon target on his back. You are not the victim of a random string of bad luck. You are waking up. You are shedding the skin of the helpless player and stepping into the enlightened. Overarching view of the simulation, to truly understand what happened in that Colts Neck mansion and what happened in that courtroom in 2026, we have to zoom out. We must stop looking at this through the fragile, emotional lens of a grieving society. This isn't just a true crime story about a greedy brother. This is a macro autopsy of the human condition. We are going to put the very concept of wealth and brotherhood on the cold steel table. Take out the scalpel and dissect the rot. There are 3 absolute laws governing this system. 3 rules that prove the game is designed to turn us into monsters. First, let's look at the economics of paranoia. Capitalism is not a ladder. It is a meat grinder. It operates on the illusion of infinite growth, but human psychology processes money as a vicious zero-sum game. When Keith and Paul went into business together, they weren't building a family legacy. They were unknowingly assembling a ticking time bomb. Money changes the molecular structure of trust. It introduces audits, missing funds, and hidden ledgers. Keith realized Paul was siphoning money from their accounts. Keith became frustrated. He wanted to sell the business. In the economic machine, a partner who threatens your cash flow ceases to be your brother. They become an existential threat. Paul didn't kill Keith out of a sudden passionate rage. He executed him with the cold, calculated arithmetic of a corporate liquidation. Second, we must examine the evolutionary biology of brotherhood. The Cain-and-Abel algorithm. We romanticize siblings as built-in best friends, but nature is far more ruthless. In the wild, the closer the DNA, the fiercer the competition for the exact same resources. Two birds in the same nest will violently push each other out to get more worms. Paul and Keith were playing out a script written into our primitive biology millions of years ago. Paul, the older brother, watching his younger siblings surpass him. Build a larger mansion, accumulate more wealth, command more authority. The evolutionary sting of being the lesser male in the same gene pool is toxic. Brotherhood isn't a guarantee of unconditional love. Under the right pressure, it is merely a death match for the same oxygen. And finally, the neurology of proximity. Your brain is a high-performance Ferrari engine, but the system forces you to run it on cheap, contaminated diesel. We are wired for dopamine, for status, for reward. But our brains measure success not by absolute wealth, but by relative proximity. Paul wasn't destitute. He had a home in Ocean Township. He had a family. In almost any other context, he was a wealthy, successful man. But he had to live in the blinding, suffocating shadow of Keith's Colts Neck estate. Every day, Paul's brain processed his brother's superior wealth as a physical humiliation. His neurological reward system was hijacked by envy. The proximity to extreme wealth corrupted his hard drive. To Paul's diseased neurology, the only way to restore balance was to erase the source of the contrast. He shot his brother, butchered his sister-in-law, and plunged a knife into his own niece and nephew. And that is when the tragedy truly began. I could sit here, stare into this camera, and tell you that now that you know the rules, everything is going to be fine. I could promise you that simply understanding the toxic nature of money and blood will instantly grant you peace, shield you from betrayal, and make you rich. But I am not a motivational guru filming in front of a rented sports car in a Hollywood driveway, trying to sell you a $1,000 masterclass on mindset. I am here to tell you the brutal, agonizing truth. Stepping outside the system's illusions will not bring you happiness. It will bring you absolute, crushing isolation. When you finally realize that the system is a rigged carnival game, you don't get to just walk away smiling. You have to mourn the death of your own ego. You have to sit at the Thanksgiving dinner table, look around at the smiling faces of your relatives, and accept the dark, terrifying reality that under the right financial pressures, the people passing you the mashed potatoes could become your worst enemies. You realize that your entire life has been spent building a sandcastle directly in the path of a tsunami. The price of this absolute clarity is deep, unrelenting exhaustion. You are no longer taking off rose-colored glasses. You are tearing off your own retinas to see in the dark. It hurts. It is lonely. You will lose friends who prefer the comfortable lie to the agonizing truth, but it is the only way to survive. Because now that you see the board clearly, you can stop playing by their rules. You can stop being the collateral damage of a broken society and become the architect of your own survival. You are no longer the tragic victim of the algorithm. You are the hacker. If society is a ruthless, unforgiving role-playing game, it is time to input the cheat codes. Let's bypass the morality. Let's install the protocols of the main character. Protocol number 1, the blood firewall. The system begs you to keep it in the family. It tells you that trust is hereditary. Delete that code from your brain immediately. Never intertwine your financial survival with your emotional anchors. You do not hire your brother. You do not invest with your cousin. and you do not cosign a loan for your parents. Mixing family and capital is like storing your live ammunition inside a burning fireplace. Compartmentalize your wealth. Love your family, but legally and financially treat them with the extreme. Polite caution of a foreign diplomat. Protocol number 2, the invisibility cloak. Capitalism demands that you display your score. The moment you accumulate wealth, the system pressures you to buy the Colts Neck mansion, to park the European luxury car in the driveway, to post the lavish vacations online. Why? Because the system needs you to be a target. It feeds on the envy of the Pauls of the world. Your ultimate weapon is stealth wealth. When you win, you do not gloat. You drive the reliable, unremarkable sedan. You live in the quiet, unassuming neighborhood. You camouflage yourself as an NPC, a non-playable character, so that the predators, scanning the horizon for a neon sign, completely overlook you. You hoard the gold, but you dress like a peasant. Protocol number 3, the ego quarantine. You must constantly monitor your own Ferrari engine. When you feel that bitter, venomous sting of envy because someone you know is succeeding, stop. Recognize it instantly as a system glitch. It is not your authentic self. It is your primitive biology trying to hijack your steering wheel. Starve the glitch. Shut down the comparison engine before it drives you off a cliff. You execute these protocols. You become untouchable. You have the armor now. You have decoded the fatal errors that left Keith Caneiro bleeding out on his front lawn and sent Paul Caneiro to wither away in a concrete cell. You have broken the chains of the grand American illusion, and you are ready to conquer the game, but do not get comfortable just yet. Because while you have learned how to protect yourself from the predators in your own bloodline, you haven't yet met the architects who actually built the slaughterhouse. What happens when the threat isn't a jealous brother with a 9mm pistol, but an untouchable dynastic family who uses their multi-billion-dollar empire to legally hunt humans for sport? You think Paul Caneiro was a monster? Wait until you see what happens when the money is so old, the power is so deep, that murder isn't even considered a crime, it's just a line item on a tax return. We will look at their ledgers next week.